We go over a different topic every week, and the videos do get posted on our YouTube channel. So if there is one in the past you want to see, you can probably check it out there. To register for next week's Technology Tuesday, go to our homepage at mpl.org and look under events, programs, and classes. I will paste the link in the chat. Next week's program will be your iPad tour. Also, as we prepare to reopen the libraries, we encourage you to take our survey to tell us what services are important to you when we first reopen. To take the survey, go to our homepage where you will find it on our banner. And I'll also plug the link into the chat as well. And now I would like to introduce Ben Pernick. Ben is a board certified music therapist and graduate of the Berklee College of Music. He has a repertoire of over 600 songs on guitar and saxophone in all musical genres and 8 languages. So go ahead, Ben.
All right. Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. And it's so good to see all of you, especially on a Friday heading into the weekend. Always a good time for fun. And that's why I kind of wanted to have this have a theme of sort of like a road trip, because especially I feel like lately we all feel we're tired of being cooped up. We miss the days where we could just be going everywhere. And I know that I get the opportunity sometimes to travel because I actually, even though right now I am in Brooklyn, New York, my sister lives in Milwaukee, and my youngest brother lived until recently out in Los Angeles, with my other brother living in New Orleans. So we got to kind of use that to go a little bit of everywhere. But I kind of was wondering, I kind of like to start with the icebreaker question. So Virginia, if you could go to a concert, because I know we all miss, being able to go to concerts. If you could go to one concert from any band, whether they're currently a band or not, but if you could go see one concert tomorrow, what would you want to see, or who would you want to see?
Elton John.
Elton John. All right. Had you ever seen Elton John perform?
Only on TV.
Wonderful. Well, yeah, that's a really good one. Did you see Rocket Man, the movie?
Yes, I did. It was good.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was very good.
Yeah.
How about you, Carol? If you can hear and see me, what would be a concert that you would want to go to?
There are so many, but right now I would say Joni Mitchell.
Joni Mitchell, oh, great choice. Just an amazing, very accomplished songwriter. And have you ever seen Joni Mitchell live?
I haven't, and I really regret that, because of course now, it's not gonna happen, but I do watch some of her old performances. I mean, I've been a listener all along, but I do watch, YouTube's great because you can find like her first performances and stuff.
Exactly. You can see them all in, different venues, different phases. It's a really great resource. And how about you, Bernadette? If you could see one concert, who would you see? I'm not sure if you're talking because I see that it's muted, but you can always enter in the chat, which you can do if you just hit enter and then you type.
Okay, now can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
I said last weekend I was able to go to the symphony concert. That was very exciting in the new Symphony Hall. But if I could choose one coming up, I'd love to see my son perform. He's a performer in the Bay Area, and they haven't been able to do much, but they have something coming up. He does a lot of new music, and he's with a number of groups, Paul Drescher Ensemble. I like to see and hear different things.
Yeah, that is really wonderful. Just a little mix of everything with an eclectic taste.
Yeah.
I know when for me, I also grew up, I really liked, I was a saxophone player, so I liked the bands that had lots of horns. So that was always fun, like Chicago, definitely some other ones too. But I think for me, if I could see one concert, even though they're not my number one favorite band, I just feel like it would be amazing to see Queen at the peak of their game in concert,
Yeah.
because just the energy of the concerts, like, I feel like every show you'd feel like you witnessed something kind of magical. So it's really fun. And of course, I know the bands are always touring all around. Sometimes I had it happen where the one time they were in a band I wanted to see was in my town, I had something else I had to do. I wasn't going to go halfway across the country to see them. But I wanted to get us started with a song that it's an old classic, of course, the Woody Guthrie song, "This Land Is Your Land." But it's kind of just a good one to get us in the mood, because it's talking about a bunch of the different places in this great country. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island. From the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I was walking on a ribbon of highway, I saw before me an endless skyway. I saw below me a golden valley. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island. From the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. It's kind of funny. I always liked that song, but it has a lot more verses than that. I like to do the shorter versions, but in a way, that song, even though we think of it as just a really like American song, in a way, it's a bit of a protest song about people trying to claim land as like private property. So I thought that was kind of interesting. A lot of times, the songs that we just kind of know the chorus, it's like we don't know what it's all about. But that one mentions, of course, a few different places, mostly though on the coast. It kind of misses the middle of the country, as it's talking mostly about New York and California. And I think that's too bad, because it really, of course, being in New York, I love the state, but New Yorkers sort of have a tendency to only think that things in the state, and more particularly in New York City, are worthwhile. There is, I think, it might have been a New Yorker thing when it said a map of the US according to New Yorkers. And it basically had all of Manhattan and then just like a tiny sliver that was the rest of the country. But I wanted to, I don't know if any of you have you ever traveled to New York?
Oh, not me.
All right.
I have.
Anybody else? You have? Well, what did you see when you were in New York?
Well, the traffic took some getting used to.
Oh, yes.
It was great, but what you say is true. We have New York friends, and west of the Hudson is just not even on their radar. So, but yeah, the park, Central Park, was great. And they're just such vast choices of everything. And the public transportation, you can go anywhere. Museums, I've been there a couple times, and even stuff like getting tickets on Times Square for performances that day and stuff like that you kind of stumble on. And
Exactly. There's so many things. Like if you just walk around the city, you'll stumble on something to do. Especially, well, of course, now the past year it's been a little different, but one of the things, for example, is if you're in the area around 42nd Street, there you'll see a lot of names and lights because that's where you find Broadway. And of course, growing up, I thought Broadway was just one big street that had all the different shows, but that's actually not really the case. It's kind of a square, and a lot of the theaters are not on Broadway. But then there's also Central Park, which I believe is the largest man-made park. So it goes all the way from 59th Street up to 125th Street. So that is several miles in both directions. But I guess for New Yorkers, it's really important for a lot of New Yorkers because everything else is gray and, concrete. It's the one area with some nature that helps them feel like fully human. Of course, in the rest of the country, you have nature all around you, so it's not as needed. But I think this was a funny fact about Broadway that originally they became really known for just having the very bright incandescent lights. And basically they did that because they felt if they had the lights bright enough, people would, like flies, get attracted to there. And it worked pretty well. In fact, in World War, I think it was the First World War, they said due to costs, they tried to dim the lights and people protested until they brought the full gleam of the lights back. So this is a song now that you might recognize. It's an old one, but a good one. Give My Regards to Broadway. Give my regards to Broadway. Remember me to Herald Square. Tell all my friends at 42nd Street that I will soon be there. Whisper of how I'm yearning to mingle with the old time throng. Give my regards to old Broadway and say that I'll be there ere long. Give my regards to Broadway. Remember me to Herald Square. Tell all my friends at 42nd Street that I will soon be there. Whisper of how I'm yearning to mingle with the old time throng. Give my regards to old Broadway and say that I'll be there ere long. Now let's get everyone in a little game to think of how many Broadway musicals you can name. Of course, a lot of these ones, maybe you didn't get to see it on Broadway, but a lot of them were adapted to film, so you may have seen them. I'll give some hints for this one. Let's see, this is the one about Don Quixote.
Oh,
And it had starring Brian Stokes Mitchell when it was on Broadway.
Man of La Mancha.
Man of La Mancha, yes. This one featured, I think the first version of it was Zero Mostel, and more recently, Alfred Molina. And it's set in a small European town called Anatevka.
Oh.
And it has a little string instrument that starts.
Sunrise, sunset.
Yes, sunrise, sunset. You got that's a song from it.
Fiddler on
And
the Roof.
Fiddler
Fiddler on the Roof.
Fiddler on the Roof, yeah. How about this one is a play within a play, because the play inside this show is called Taming of the Shrew.
Kiss me, Kate.
Kiss Me, Kate. Excellent.
Oh,
This one is the longest running show on Broadway. It's still running right now. And I think it started its run in 1987.
oh,
And
Oh, Cats or something, or
Yes.
Rent, or
No,
A
it's
good guess, not Cats and not Rent, even because I think Cats, it stopped running at one point and then came back. But this one is most known for a falling chandelier.
Oh, the Phantom of the Opera.
Phantom of the Opera, yes. Now, I was a kid when I saw that, and no one told me about the falling chandelier. I thought as close as a kid could get to having a heart attack. I was pretty close. But let's do a few more. Now, this one, even though it wasn't the longest running, it's the highest grossing one. And I think it was also the first Broadway musical to have a female director.
Oh. Hmm.
Hamilton or
Good guess, not Hamilton. This one is based on a
The Lion King?
1990s Disney movie,
It's the Lion King.
Lion King.
Oh.
Yes.
Lion King.
And a lot of the things, the musical came first and the movie came second, but that one, it went the other way around. And they just had very creative costumes. And I think now this one that came out pretty recently was one of the first hip operas, so to speak. And tickets often would go over $1,000 at the
That's
peak of its
Hamilton.
popularity. That one was Hamilton, yes.
Hamilton.
And they said you could wait in line to try to enter a lottery to get tickets. And if you did it often enough, you actually, over the course of a year, you'd have about an 80% chance of getting a free ticket if you submitted every morning and night. The only thing is, if you did get that ticket, you'd have to drop all your plans and go right away. Call out of work, just be, oh, I'm so sick. All right, let's do one more. This Broadway show featured, well, in the movie version, Frank Sinatra was in it, and there was a big craps game that it revolved around.
Guys and Dolls.
That was, yes, Guys and Dolls. Big hits like Luck Be a Lady Tonight. So yeah, now New York, of course, they have Broadway, but there's also a lot of great museums like you had mentioned before. It's also known for having very nice water, even though the water does not come from New York City itself. It comes from upstate. There's a giant tunnel system that brings it over 100 miles. And that's why it's because of the water that a lot of, at least New Yorkers, believe that they have the best bagels and the best pizza, because you need just the right chemistry of the water in order to make it rise, to make it nice and fluffy. Now, but let's leave New York now, because like I said, we got to go to some other places. Now, this song is an old classic American song. And it's written actually about a racetrack, which I didn't realize, but there is a town, Camptown, Pennsylvania, that this song was written about. Camptown. Actually, I'll do it in this key, a little easier for me to sing. Camptown ladies sing this song, doo-dah, doo-dah. Camptown racetrack 5 miles long, oh, doo-dah day. Going to run all night, going to run all day. Bet my money on the Bobtown ad, somebody bet on the bay. Camptown ladies sing this song, doo-dah, doo-dah. Camptown racetrack 5 miles long, oh, doo-dah day. Now, there aren't too many songs well, there is another song about Pennsylvania. If you remember the Pennsylvania polka was another big one. That's going way back, but another classic. But there's two big cities in Pennsylvania. I mean, and they're not so close to each other. What are the two biggest cities in Pennsylvania?
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh's one of them. And what is the other one?
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia, yes, also known as the city of
Brotherly love.
brotherly love. You got it. Now, can anybody guess? Because I think that this is just a pretty fun fact about Pennsylvania. Well, who was the guy who a philanthropist who also was responsible. Many credit him for creating the first fire station.
Andrew Mellon?
Good guess, but not him.
Franklin?
It was Franklin, yes. Sharing my name. He also inaugurated the first public zoo in Philadelphia, which was commissioned in 1859, though unfortunately the opening was delayed until 1874 due to the American Civil War. And believe it or not, Pittsburgh was rated twice as the most livable city by the Places Rated Almanac, which I always thought of Pittsburgh as not being a great place to live, because what do you think of when you think of Pittsburgh?
Steel.
Steel, yeah. And it doesn't, so it sounds very industrial, not the greatest place to live. But now I don't know if we have any football fans here, but this is one of my favorite facts, that now we know that there's the Philadelphia team, the Eagles, and what's the Pittsburgh team?
The Steelers.
Yes, well, there was one year, I believe it was during the Second World War, where because so many players were overseas and they were short of staff, they actually combined both teams. And their actual name was the Steagles.
Oh,
And that one year was actually the first year that Pittsburgh could say that they had a winning record. So I thought that was pretty funny. Now, Pennsylvania is also known for one other thing, which I can attest to when I was on my road trip to Milwaukee, because we went through Pennsylvania, and it has the highest population of this group in the world, where they live a very old-fashioned life.
Amish?
Yes, the Amish. And while I was on my way we were going through the streets, there were horse and buggies on the side of the road, which was just really something to see. And because you go through Amish country with the biggest area being Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Now, there's another state not too far from New York that people in the Midwest probably had no reason to go to, but there was a bit of trivia about it that I felt like I had to include. So this one, well, I'll let you pick. Shall we go to Connecticut or Carolina?
Carolina.
Okay, now that could be North or South Carolina, of course. But we'll do some Carolina in the morning. I haven't done this one in a long time, but it's always just a feel-good song. Nothing could be finer than to be in Carolina in the morning. Nothing could be sweeter than my sweetie when I meet her in the morning. Where the morning glories twine around the door, whispering pretty stories I long to hear once more. Strolling with my girlie where the dew is pearly early in the morning. Butterflies all flutter up and kiss each little buttercup at dawning. If I had Aladdin's lamp for only a day, I'd make a wish and here's what I'd say. Nothing could be finer than to be in Carolina in the morning. Yeah, I always wondered with that song, was it North or South Carolina? Because the two are rather different. Have any of you ever been to South Carolina? I got to say that I was there once. And for someone from New York, where here in New York, we tend to talk very fast, get right to the point. But South Carolina, it's definitely a different way of talking. We got a tour of a whole like tea plantation, and the person talked so slow I felt like I could fall asleep, take a nap, and wake up in between his sentences. But Charleston is a beautiful historic city. You definitely, and I don't know, I think it's very nice there. If you want a very different change of pace, but the thing that's really neat is just the way the buildings look, because they're so historic. I mean, they've been restored, but you have like pink building, the way that they look with the pink buildings and next to orange buildings, it's very, very pastel colored, very nice. But for the next song, we'll go to Connecticut for this song, which of course you probably, actually, you'll probably recognize because it's a very popular kids song, but I'll just want to share the fun bit of trivia about it. Yankee Doodle went to town riding on a pony, stuck a feather in his hat and called it macaroni. Yankee Doodle, keep it up, Yankee Doodle dandy. Mind the music and the step, and with the girls be handy. Now that song, I always thought it was just a very funny nonsense song as a kid. Because I'm like, what do you mean stick a feather in his hat and call it macaroni? Because I've eaten a lot of mac and cheese, and macaroni looks nothing like a feather. But I learned that it actually was something very different. Do any of you know what were they talking about when they said macaroni in that song?
I don't.
I figured most people don't know this. And I didn't until I researched it and just found it a really fun fact. But that song was not written by an American. It's a song that we consider part of the American folklore, but it was actually written by the British before the American Revolution. Because back in those days, the redcoats, as we called them, they had all the money. They had all the good treatment from the king and didn't have the taxes on them, or they could tax us all we wanted. Americans lived very frugally, and we had rags and all of that. So basically they were making fun of us, saying that we came into town riding on a pony instead of a horse because we were basically too broke to afford a real horse. And when they said stuck a feather in his hat and called it macaroni, macaroni was actually, before it was a kind of elbow noodle, macaroni was a kind of European style at the time that was for the very aristocratic people with lots of feathers and frills. So they said we stuck one feather in our hat and we started strutting around like we were, on airs. So really, they were making fun of us, but we weren't so bright and we didn't realize they were making fun of us. We said, oh, that's a catchy song that we heard you singing as we went by. I think we'll take it and make it our own. So it's
Did
a
you
good
know that President Kennedy's daughter had a pony named Macaroni?
I did not know that. And that just makes it all better. We've come full circle. Yeah, so that, and it's still the state song of Connecticut to this very day. Several hundreds of years. And I guess that teaches a lesson. If people are making fun of you, just don't act oblivious and go along with it. And maybe it'll work. At least in that case, it sure did. Now, of course, we're all staying on the East Coast, but I want to take a little trip down to, we could go to Texas, or we could do West Virginia. So for this one, why don't we do some West Virginia, because it allows us to do a nice John Denver song. And I think you'll know this one, because what's his song, the John Denver song that mentions West Virginia?
Country Home, Country Roads.
Country Roads, yes. And it kind of paints a picture of West Virginia too. Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, blowing like a breeze. Country roads, take me home to the place where I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads. And you can feel free to sing along whether you're muted or not. I know it's a hard chorus to resist. Almost heaven, gather round her, miner's lady, stranger to blue water, dark and dusty, painted on the sky, misty taste of moonshine, teardrop in my eye, country roads, take me home to the place where I belong, West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home, country roads. Very nice. Now, this was a fun fact that I learned about that song. Of course, we all associate it with West Virginia, but before it was West Virginia, he actually wrote that somewhere that wasn't West Virginia. And instead of that, it was a different state with the 4 syllables.
Alabama?
A good guess, but it's not Alabama. Nobody I've ever done this program with has ever gotten it. So I always like to see.
Colorado?
Not Colorado. That's what most people guess because, of course, his last name is Denver and he has the song Rocky Mountain High.
It's California, isn't it?
Good guess, but it's actually not California either. It's none other than Massachusetts. He was going through the Berkshire Mountains on a tour when he wrote that song. But of course, Massachusetts, most people don't think of, a country setting when they think of Massachusetts because they think of Boston. So at some point later, they said, let's make it a different state and we'll fill the rest in later. So I thought that was pretty fun. Now, I want to do a fun game, though. This is a bit where we get a little more interactive here. So, well, we just had Earth Day for one, so it's always good to think about, travel, and because when you get to travel, you get more appreciation for nature because everywhere you go, there's the national parks. There's just so many different things to see. So what we're going to do is we're going to play a game. This is based on the fun party game called Scattergories. So we're going to pick a random letter. And let's see, Greg, I'll let you pick the letter. Don't make it like X or Q because that will make it a lot harder. But
Let's do C.
C. Okay, that's always a good one. So we are going to start by thinking of places that start with C. Then we're going to think of famous singers who have a C beginning their name. And then, because I think one of the biggest reasons people travel is to try different restaurants. So let's do also food that starts with the letter C. But we're going to start with places starting with C.
Oh, California.
Let's see how many we can name. Colorado, that's one.
California.
2.
Connecticut.
3.
Chicago.
I heard Canada and Chicago. That's 5.
Chattanooga.
Columbia.
Cape
Chattanooga.
Canaveral. Cape
Canaveral. Ooh,
Canaveral.
that's 2 points for Cape and Canaveral.
Charlotte.
Oh, Charlotte.
That's a good one.
Cincinnati.
Okay, we're up to 10.
Cleveland. Columbus.
Okay, we're up to 12.
Cape Canaveral.
I think we got Cape Canaveral.
Oh,
Cuba.
What was that?
Cuba.
Cuba. Yeah, it can be outside the US too.
Cheyenne.
Cheyenne.
Cancun.
Cancun.
Chile.
Chile. You can see the Great Wall here.
China.
China.
Colombia.
Colombia.
Congo.
Congo. Ooh, good one.
Oh,
Cambodia.
Cambodia. This place is
Cameroon.
Cameroon.
Carson.
Is that Carson City?
Yes.
All right. That's another 2-pointer. This place is known for There's saltwater taffy in the edge of Massachusetts.
Cape Cod?
Cape Cod, yes.
Oh,
Let's see if we can get a few more and then we'll jump to the next category. Oh, I just thought of one and then I forgot it. Let's see if we can get 3 more places that start with C. See, now it gets tough.
Cambridge.
Cambridge, excellent.
We say Chile yet?
Yep.
We said
Yeah.
Chile. I'll say, oh, I just was thinking of it and forgot again.
There's a Colgate, Wisconsin.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, let's get those local places.
Raucous.
Chernobyl.
Chernobyl, yes. All right, good. I think we can now jump to the next category, which is famous singers whose name begins with C.
Clooney, Rosemary Clooney.
Clooney, yes.
Cat Stevens.
Excellent.
Carole King.
My mom's favorite, Carole King.
Charlie Parker.
Excellent. And this person, for a 2-pointer, she was very famous for her role doing Hello Dolly for many years.
Oh, Carol Channing.
Carol Channing,
Cab Calloway.
another 2-pointer.
Caruso.
Cher.
Cher, yes.
Uh,
Getting tougher, but let's see if we can squeeze out a few more.
Connie
Eric
Stevens.
Okay, that's one.
Connie Stevens, did you get that?
Yep, I got Connie Stevens.
Clapton.
Clapton, yeah. You can even name the Clapton's band for another point.
Oh,
Cream.
Cream, yes. This one's a lot harder than I thought it would be. First or last name.
Chaka Khan.
Okay. Very good.
Christina Aguilera.
There we go. Let's see if we can get 3 more. What was that?
Chicago, the band.
Chicago, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Is Carrie Underwood? How about Carrie Underwood?
Carrie Underwood. This was the lead singer of Nirvana.
Oh,
Kurt
You got
Cobain.
Cobain, yes. Oh, and this singer was known for Catch a Falling Star and Put It in Your Pocket.
Oh.
His first name, well, if I say the first name, you'll know the last name, but Perry
Como.
yes. Okay, now on to everybody's favorite food, starting with the letter C.
Carrots. Cauliflower.
Cantaloupe.
Starting healthy. I'm impressed.
Carrots.
Okay, we got that.
Clam chowder.
That's an okay 2-pointer. Clam chowder.
Chicken.
There's a potential 3-pointer here if you think of something that Otis Spunkmeyer or Chips Ahoy makes.
Cookies.
Cookies. If you want the 3-pointer, you can get
Chocolate chip
Chocolate
cookies.
chip.
chocolate chip cookies. Yeah.
Chicken cacciatore.
Ooh.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a lot of C's in that one.
Yeah. This is a Halloween treat that people usually don't eat the rest of the year.
Candy corn.
Excellent. Another 2-pointer.
Candy cane.
Candy cane.
Cotton candy.
Cotton candy. Wow, we're
We're on
on
a
a
sweet
roll.
roll. Um,
Cornbread,
Cornbread.
corn. Cranberries,
yes.
chocolate,
How could we get
Cake.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised we haven't gotten yet something that Michigan is the home of.
Chimichangas.
Battle Creek, Michigan, I should say, is the home of this
Oh,
particular
cereal.
cereal. Yes. Okay, we got 1 minute to go.
Couscous.
Couscous. Ooh, good one.
Coconut.
Coconut. This is a kind of spice that
Cumin.
Cumin.
and
Coriander.
that's the one, yeah. And this is the one that 1/5 of all people have a gene that makes this taste like soap.
Cilantro.
Cilantro, yes, that's true. For some people, cilantro tastes like soap and it's determined by a certain gene.
How about cinnamon?
Cinnamon.
Cinnamon.
Curry.
Ooh, wow, we found a gold mine in the spices.
Cayenne, yeah.
Cayenne, yes.
Celery.
10 seconds to go. Celery,
Um,
crackers,
crackers,
cabbage.
cabbage, crab cakes. Okay, there's our timer. Very nice. We got a bunch of, not just a lot of answers, but we got a lot of 2 and 3 pointers there too. So let's see. How many, with all of those combined, how many answers do you think we got? Take a guess.
30.
30 is a good guess. Let's see. We got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 73.
Wow.
Wow.
That is pretty impressive. Give yourselves a hand. So now, of course, we wouldn't want to go. I think we'd be remiss if we went without doing something about the state where, of course, most of you are coming from, Wisconsin. So we were talking about some different food products, but of course, Wisconsin, well, we know what they're most known for. What food products?
We didn't
Cheese.
say cheese.
Cheese is one.
Milk.
Milk, well, yeah, we wouldn't have the good cheese if it wasn't for the good milk.
Cranberries.
Cranberries, yeah.
Oh, yeah, the cranberries too. And I think with the cheese, of course,
The
a
curds.
lot of people like to have this with cheese,
Crackers.
the crackers,
Beer.
but also the beer, yes, which is why we have our Milwaukee Brewers, which I got to go to my first Brewers game when I was visiting last year. And I have to say, it's a really fun stadium. But not only that, but we are talking about dairy, but the first ice cream sundae is also from Two Rivers, Wisconsin, all the way back. And anyone want to guess what year? What do you think it was? 1850, 1881, 1922, or 1906?
1881.
You are correct. Yes. The first Sunday, 1881 in Two Rivers. And I am very thankful for whoever invented that. Also, I know many people like to go for trips to go by the water in this county. And this county is known for actually having more shoreline than any other county in the entire United States.
Door County.
Door County, yes, over 250 miles of shoreline. And I know my sister and my very adorable niece and nephew love to go there to visit because it's not only the shore is great, but the people are very friendly. But as far as ice cream goes, it's still a stronghold in Wisconsin. Anyone know how many gallons of ice cream are consumed by Wisconsinites every year? Is it 11 million gallons, 980,000 gallons, 21 million gallons, or 96 million gallons?
Hmm.
21 million.
Wow, I gotta say, I was not expecting anyone to get that, but yes, 21 million gallons. So dairy is still going very strong. And of course, Green Bay is known for the cheese and the cheese heads, but did you also know that and of course, being from there, maybe you do know this, but they're also known as the capital of the world for this not food related product, but something that everybody needs. And a little more than a year
Toilet
ago,
paper.
yes, toilet paper.
Oh,
Really?
Yes, Green Bay. I don't know exactly how they became known as the toilet paper capital of the world. It's not, I'm sure they would much rather go with the cheese one. But that was the case. And it actually really changed the game for toilet paper when they invented, someone got very rich just creating that one little piece at the end of the toilet paper that holds it together. For a long time, they didn't have that, and the rolls would always unravel when they tried to ship them. Speaking of different capitals, this area of Wisconsin, which with a very fun sounding name, is the bratwurst capital of the world.
Sheboygan.
Sheboygan.
Yes, Sheboygan is correct. So I definitely need to go back there because when I went, I really only got to explore Milwaukee. And I really hope to get a little tour from my niece and nephew of all the different parts of Wisconsin. But now let's go somewhere a little bit further out. This is a song that was attributed, I think it was written about Montana. And this song mentions fences. Anyone know what song that is?
Give me land, lots of land.
That's the one, yes.
Oh, Texas man.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's me.
Oh, give me land, lots of land under starry skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but I ask you please, don't fence me in. Just turn me loose. Let me straddle my own saddle underneath the western skies. On my cayuse, let me wander over yonder till I see the mountains rise. I want to ride to the ridge where the west commences and gaze at the moon until I lose my senses. Can't look at hobbles and I can't stand fences. Don't fence me in. Yeah, now most people don't go out to Montana, but it is a very beautiful, has lots of natural beauty, and they very much pride themselves on that. But of course, you can get a lot of natural beauty and also some city life if you go all the way out to the West Coast to the state that is known for the redwood forest,
California.
California. Yes. And have any of you been to California before?
Oh, yes.
What was your favorite thing that you saw in California?
I think it was the forest, the big trees. Beautiful.
Yes. And anyone know the name
and the
of those?
ocean.
Yeah, and the ocean. You get lots of great beaches. I got to go to the pier at Santa Monica, which is a lot of fun. And then there's also Venice Beach, which I'm not sure if it's definitely very interesting. But there's one place that's in California known as the only mobile landmark, because it's been around a long time, but it is constantly in motion. A little further up north in San Francisco.
Oh,
Is it the trolleys in San Francisco?
Not the trolleys, but you're very close. Think a little bit higher up.
The Golden Gate.
Not the Golden Gate.
It sways. I don't know.
But this is something that sways, and it's not for those who are afraid of heights. It is mentioned in the song, I Left My Heart in San Francisco. That would be the cable cars.
Hmm.
A nice way to get around. Even though the Golden Gate Bridge is also very, very beautiful. But I wanted to pay my homage to Tony Bennett because it's amazing that he's been still singing after all these years, now in his 90s, and he hasn't let it stop him. I left my heart in San Francisco, down by the hill. It calls to me, where little cable cars climb halfway to the stars. The morning fog may clear the air. I don't care, my heart waits there in San Francisco, down by the blue and windy sea. When I come home to you, San Francisco, your golden sun will shine for me. Yeah, that Tony Bennett, he was really great. And I just want to thank all of you, by the way, so much for coming, for participating. And I hope you enjoyed the program. I'd love to thank MPL. Thanks so much for hosting me. The next program I'll be doing is about a month from now, May 21st, when I'll be doing Name That Tune Jeopardy, which I will be pulling out my saxophone for that, what I've actually been playing since I was a little kid. So thank you. I hope you all enjoyed.
Thank you, Ben. I hope everybody enjoyed too, and hope to see you all back again on the 21st of May.
Thank you.
Take care.
bye-bye.
All right, take care.